time. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Patra, with me Shail Patnagar. This is Market Today, a show where we help you understand the closing action on the D Street. Well, it's been again a volatile day of trade, and even now the Nifty is hovering below the 22,300 mark. Right now down 165 odd points. The Nifty Bank is the one that's definitely feeling the pressure or the heat, 1.2% lower in trade as far as the Nifty Bank is concerned. 48,300 odd levels, which is down by almost 600 odd points can be seen. However, there was slight recovery from the day's low point, and we did see some recovery coming in on the IT pack that was leading to this recovery in the markets. But although again we are seeing volatility take over, and we are again looking at the market slipping away. As far as the top stocks are concerned, of course it's the FMCG stocks that have been holding all the limelight right from the morning, and stocks like HUL, Britannia, Nestle, ITC and Marico have been showing strong moves in trade today. Shell, it's going to be another day, I think the third day in a row when we've been looking at a weak trade, but it's the sectoral moves that continue to move on.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a renewed look at what the Nifty is trying to do. As Sakshi mentioned, it's in the red and falling for the third day in a row. But what's of critical importance is that at least on an intraday basis, the 21-day exponential moving average has now been broken in favor of the bears. It essentially means that now, instead of the thought being buy the dip, now it is sell the rise. That is something of critical importance that has happened, and this is on the day when the third phase of national elections to decide the fate of 88 seats is well underway. Today, Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi voted in Gujarat for a seat that is being contested by Mr. Amit Shah, the Home Minister. So keep this background in mind when you see the gyrations of the Nifty, and the fact that the market has gone completely defensive. Sakshi, you would remember we were interviewing Mr. Nilesh Shah yesterday. He's the managing director at Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company, and he said very clearly two sectors stand out in terms of valuations. They are FMCG, which is consumer fast-moving consumer goods, and of course the IT sector. And lo and behold, look at the top gaining index today. The FMCG index is now up 1.87%, 55,687. Remember, this was up much more in the morning as well, and these gains are now led by stocks such as Marico, stocks such as Hindustan Unilever, stocks such as Godrej Consumer Product, Dabur, Asian Paints, Colgate, to name a few. And of course the IT sector also in the green so far, about 220 points higher, 33,438. So Sakshi, the complexion of the market has changed dramatically, and it is now a defensive market as far as stock picking is concerned. We will look at defined and well diversified revenue streams which are predictable in nature, provided by FMCG companies. We will look at debt free balance sheets which are provided by both FMCG and IT companies, and we will look at huge cash balances on the books which are again provided by FMCG and IT companies. So that's the complexion that has changed. And to bring you at par with what's happening in the market, just look at Marico. This is the top gainer in the NSE 500, the NSE FNO space, as also the FMCG sector. Sakshi, 10% higher, and you will not believe 3 lakh shares have been traded on Marico, which is 20 times the 5-day average. So traders, dealers and investors are scrambling to get into FMCG because now the flavor has turned towards defense. You're looking at predictable revenue streams, huge margins, and nice profit after tax. We've seen that happen in Britannia, we've seen that happen in Dabur over the last 1 week or so, ditto Hindustan Unilever. Sakshi.
Absolutely. And now it's time to welcome our guest on the show. Chakri Lokpriya joins in. He's the managing partner at RSPLP. Welcome, Chakri. Good to have you with us on Business Today and on Market Today television as well. Do tell us, what do you make of the market texture, as we were discussing third day on the trot and we are on the weaker side, and India VIX is constantly spiking, but we are definitely seeing some moves come back into underperforming sectors like IT and FMCG.
Hello, hi. Thanks for having me. Yes, the weakness is continuing. It's not to do with earnings, because if you look at earnings of the industrial companies, manufacturing and infra, those numbers have been coming very good. And in fact, if you look at, America today, they said that, the volume growth was about only 3%. I mean, it's good to put things into perspective. And they said, okay, we'll grow whatever 9 to 11% over the next couple of years. But because the sector has not done, stock has not done much in the last 1 or 2 years, there is this bunched up trade, and the stock is up nearly 10%. Whereas on the other hand, industrial companies are saying, industrial, defense, infra, or that whole pack, they're saying we're growing earnings at 25-30% plus, and they're delivering on it. So, but I think it's part of it is just profit taking, part of it is nervousness as we come to the end of the election. Going towards the end, which is June 1st or 2nd. And I think it's a combination of these factors that you're seeing weakness in the market.
Good afternoon to you, Chakri, and a very warm welcome on Market Today. What a day to have you. About a 1200 point rise on the FMCG index takes me back 15-20 years, when the mainstay of the Nifty used to be Hindustan Unilever, ITC, and maybe even earlier, when stocks such as Brook Bond, Ponds, Lakme were listed, all of them gobbled by Hindustan Unilever. Within the FMCG pack, what do you think would be your top pick?
Good afternoon. You're absolutely right. People used to talk about in all these FMCG groups of companies as the mainstay of investing. The world has changed since, but again, today is their day. And within that space, companies like which have underperformed, Marico, after a long time, has said that they will be able to generate higher margins, because they have going to have a direct distribution force, which will, and they're also bringing in new products which will accelerate their top line growth. And all these things that they will do will kind of accelerate the revenue to about 11-12%, 10 to 12%. So I think that's a good number for an FMCG company. Marico looks good. Godrej is coming out of a restructuring after a long time. That company has lots of company-specific issues and distribution restructuring, which I think is beginning to come out. So I think, in the broader market, these are the companies in FMCGs that I would look at.
Okay, and we'll pat the PCR on its back as far as early morning calls were concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll show you the 2320 call on Hindustan Unilever, which was highlighted at about 42 rupees early morning today. That call is now trading somewhere like 75 rupees. It had gone all the way up to 81, 82 rupees. Let's see whether that's this one. So 100% rise should you have followed the footsteps of PCR. And similarly, the ITC 445 call, which is doing fantastically well. And if you were with us yesterday, we had highlighted Kotak Bank's 1620 call for the May 30th expiry. All of them doing fairly good. Chakri, in the backdrop of how earnings have come in for Kotak Mahindra Bank, and the fact that it's now somewhere near 3-year lows, 3.5-year lows, what do you think long-term investors have as far as Kotak is concerned? A time to buy or still wait?
In terms of Kotak, I would still wait, for the simple reason that today there are two issues facing Kotak. One is there is a senior management churn, and the second is that there is a temporary RBI ban. The temporary RBI ban is clearly, of course, it will be resolved fairly soon, and probably in a quarter or so they'll come back. Quarter or two they'll come back again, and those lost volumes of digital businesses will come back again. On the other hand, you had long-standing management like Manian, who've been with the company for the last nearly 30 odd years. new management has come in, so there's a natural churn happening. So until that internal churn settles down within the bank, I think the management focus can be off the market and taking market share, and it's trading at about 2.3 times book, so it's not a cheap stock. So given these three factors, I'd stay by the sidelines for things to settle down.
Chakri, after the recent, whatever earnings have come about, nearly, I think half of the Nifty companies have already come out with the earnings. Where have you done any upgrades and where have you done any downgrades, if at all?
Good question. And the heartening factor is, in fact, the upgrades are largely been in the manufacturing, defense, railways. Even, yesterday, Titagarh wagons numbers were actually very good. And you're seeing the demand acceleration on a fairly strong order book already. So I think, this trend is likely to continue, and that is likely to keep the valuations of the companies and the market in control. So it's still not a runaway market. It's still not an expensive market. And I think, and with metals are now beginning to come back, the valuations are still in order. So I think these are the cyclical spaces that I'll continue to look at.
Okay. What about the IT pack clearly, and how are you looking at this slight reversal of sorts that it is taking place? Does this have more legs? Is it the best time to take an entry into the IT story?
IT is probably up to this because, yesterday the US unemployment figures came in the favor. That is, unemployment was kind of weak, which kind of said the signal to the market maybe they peak or they'll now start beginning to cut rates. But I think, I'd still wait for some more signs from the US, basically action, because the order books are there, but they're not converting into revenue. Meanwhile, the valuations of all these companies are trading at, 26, 24 times earnings. So it's not that they're particularly cheap stocks. So I'd still wait and watch before the order book starts turning into revenue.
Yeah. In this day and age, Chakri, nothing is cheap and how should I say, available easily in terms of valuation. It is just a relative scale. We are at 22,500 on the Nifty on a bad day. This was 23,000, just a whisker of a days away. Nevertheless, okay, let me, ladies and gentlemen, sort of announce the return of some old time favorites which dominated the screen and the trade about 2.5 years. Happiest minds will come in front of you. People had lost track of this stock after the spectacular listing. I think the listing was somewhere in, if I'm not mistaken, 2021 of September 20th. September 2020, the first week of September. And from then on, it had a glorious all-time high of 1546 since August of 21 in a span of 9 months. And then people just forgot all about it. The counter has declared its earnings, and today we see it somewhere in the vicinity of 827, up 22 rupees, 2.7% higher. Sakshi, I can't remember the last time we discussed Tech Mahindra. The earnings were there a couple of days ago, but consistently the stock is now back in action, now 2% higher, up 25 at 1287. So these are the two stocks that I wanted to highlight. We can also be joined by Vaishali Parekh, VP Technical Research and Analysis at Prabhudas Leeladhar. She'll be with us shortly. But going strong today is another well-known stock that we've discussed many times, Tejas Networks. Today in a market which is really correcting very sharply, you have the counter up almost 4% at 1110, up 38. Sakshi, what are you watching?
On the banks, Chakri, I wanted to understand from you, after the recent, good numbers, at least from 3 to 4 top banks that they have reported in the private sector, how are you looking at them now? And does the story get stronger from here?
Yesterday's fall in PSU banks gives you a good indication of where the risks lie. The main reason why the PSU banks grew and actually will continue to grow is because of the strength in the manufacturing, defense, railways, infrastructure, EPC, and their loan growth is very strong, which is not the mainstay of the private banks. So therefore the numbers for the PSU banks will continue to be strong for the very same reason the bank and RBI is also for NBFCs. And generally the trend of RBI has been to maintain that, ensure that the books are clean, the capital adequacy is strong. So against this backdrop, I think PSU banks continue to look good. Private banks, on the other hand, yes, Axis Bank numbers were good, but all the major private banks, one after the left, Kotak has a management transition issue. HDFC Bank has a merger integration matter. So there are all these. Federal Bank, again, the CEO is retiring, a new one will come in place. So various private banks are facing transition issues, and so that's something which will impact them.
Okay, so that's as far as the banks are concerned. How about the NBFCs? We've seen the recent numbers from Bajaj Twins come back. Of course, things settled down after the RBI's move as well, and stock moved up sharply as well. Is the NBFC space looking better as well?
NBFC space is looking good. Shriram Finance, L&T Finance, REC and Power Finance. After their fall yesterday, and simply because the REC and Power Finance, they expect their business to go up by about grow at a rate of about 17% over the next 3 or 4 years. So which means the companies would have doubled, which means the book value would have at least doubled. So that means today's valuation are 1/4 of where they can be 4 years later, back of the envelope calculation. So which means there's huge upsides in some of these NBFCs, or then if you hold them for the next 3 to 4 years.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's mark Hindustan Unilever now. The stock is definitely in a different mood. The top gainer now 5.7% higher, 2386. It'll be a rare day, Sakshi, to find out how much Hindustan Unilever has contributed to Nifty's efforts today. While the Nifty itself is down 128 points, ladies and gentlemen, Lever has contributed 29 points on the green as far as the Nifty is concerned. TCS has brought in 15 points. Infosys has sort of deposited 14 points in the green. ITC 13 points and Kotak Bank 4 points. What's pulled the index down? Well, it's Reliance, ICICI, HDFC Banks, Bajaj Auto and Tata Motors. But Lever, I think let me just give you one more interesting data. We are waiting for Vaishali to join us so that you can get a sense of what is the way forward as far as Lever is concerned. Sakshi, 1622 crore worth of shares have been traded on Hindustan Unilever. And let me give you one other interesting data. I can't remember over last how many years that Lever is the top traded counter in terms of volume and volume buzzers within the Nifty. 3 times the 5-day average has been traded, about 69 lakhs, 69.5 lakh shares. Ditto Britannia, 1.8 times the 5-day average, 2.5% higher. Strong moves coming in. And let me again pat the PCR on its back. We'll again see the 2320 call on Hindustan Unilever. It, ladies and gentlemen, is headed towards 3 digits now, almost 90 on the screen. So a great day if you've been watching market today since morning. Sakshi.
Right, Chakri, of course we're talking about FMCG, but the other sector which is also betting big on rural recovery and normal monsoons is also the auto space, which was in momentum a few days ago. Sales came in healthier for the two-wheelers. How are you looking at the entire space, and how do you expect the auto space to perform now?
The auto space is a lot of positive things going on for it. Whether it's passenger vehicles, two-wheelers, commercial vehicles are still kind of recovering, so they'll also will pick up once you see interest rates peak and start going down. So I think the volumes will continue to be strong for two-wheelers. So now they have an additional stream, which is the EV space, and the third one is exports are picking up. So still go after Bajaj Auto, TVS Motors, because all things are going on for them positively well. Maruti, after all the run-up, still looking good. Ashok Leyland, I'll begin to see, because they'll begin to see a recovery. in the volume sales, volume of CV sales. So I think, post elections too, I think automobile as a space will benefit from both consumer and industrial demand.
Okay, but there's one sector which is seeing sharp profit booking today, and that's the outperformer of the past. That's the Nifty Realty Index, about 5% of a decline coming in today, and heavy profit booking really taking place. And last 1 year, last 1.5 year, look at the calendar year, look at the fiscal year, this remains the top performing index, with several of the stocks having run up pretty sharply on the back of huge demand, especially in the luxury space that we've seen for most of the players in the recent past as well. Of course, as we move forward, we were alluding to the election fever, and of course the new government coming in. There is again the affordable housing theme that will again come back into flavor. How should one be really approaching the real estate space after it has already run up?
No, the space, as you rightly said, has run up quite a lot. The valuations have moved up. They're all trading well above their price to book value multiples. And yes, clearly, I think with having done so well, I clearly take some money off the table, wait for some time. Let's see, how sales shape up after the election, after the monsoon. But they've had a fantastic run, so we'll take some chips off.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we are almost at 2:53, which means that 7 plus 30, 37 minutes of trade are left. The markets are in suspended animation. Nothing much is moving unless you are invested in Hindustan Unilever, Tejas Networks or Tech Mahindra. Everything is quiet. But also let's look at some other stocks within the IT basket that are doing pretty well. And there are TCS futures are up 1.39%. Doing pretty well at about 39.65. That's a fairly decent move coming in. About 15.7 lakh shares have been traded 77 times, 77% the 5-day average. Also moving after many days is Wipro, a percent higher, 463. About 63% of 5-day average traded as far as prices are concerned. Earnings boy Voltas is down 4%. 1386.90. Let me see if the numbers are indeed out, because the price action normally is indicative of such moves. Nothing yet. Let me just reconfirm. No, nothing. The results haven't come in. The stock obviously was the top performing stock within the F&O space over the last 3 months, up 40%. Let's see how numbers come in, but for the moment 4% lower. Nothing else is moving on the green side, but what I'll do is let me point out some obvious pain that's in the market, and we'll look at the PSU basket because that was in really bad shape in the morning. So MRPL 6% lower today, 215.20. Within the railway space, it's IRCON that's down 5%, Chennai Petro down 5% again, NLC India on the metal side shedding 11 rupees 60 at 216. Hindustan Zinc 22 rupees lower, 441.70. You have the likes of Gujarat Mineral Development Corporation 4.5% lower, down about 20 rupees. And you have the likes of NHPC, SGVN, public sector banks, Union Bank down 4%, J&K Bank slipping 4%, Central Bank at 61.10 down 2.5%, GNFC from the fertilizer pack slipping 4% lower, 652.90. So this is the state of play. Let's look at defense. Pain here as well, but not to the extent to what other PSU stocks are reacting to. Hindustan Unilever shedding 100 rupees at 37.16. You have BEML down 111 at 33.54. This is the broad decline that is coming in the market. At about 2:56 p.m. You have 1782 stocks that are in the red and just 465 that are in the green. I believe Vaishali has joined in, or a sound check is happening. Sakshi.
Chakri, just before we let you go, one quick question on how do you expect the markets to react post the election results? Because there's this huge buzz, and everybody is slightly worried that perhaps a correction could be in the making. And if at all, then is it a wiser strategy to have some dry powder, when you get an opportunity to dip into the markets post elections? Is that going to happen?
That's a tough question. I really wish I knew the answer well, but clearly that is happening in a sense that people, the investors are taking some money off the table. You've seen that in the last 2 or 3 days. Whether the trend will continue largely depend upon as you get closer to the June 2nd date. We'll have a greater sense of exit polls, etc., and all those things. So I think, but largely fundamentally, we are looking strong as a market. So, I clearly have some money ready for post-election.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Chakri, for being with us on the show and helping us really understand the tenor and the flavor of the markets going forward from here, and how do you approach it in this volatile turn. Many thanks. Appreciate your presence with us on Business Today. All right, viewers, so we'll again come back to the markets and see how some of the prices are really moving. On the Nifty, you have 135 point of a downtick, so we're back above the 22,300 mark. It's very, very volatile around this band that you're looking at on the Nifty. As far as some of the broader market movers are concerned, let's look at that. We've largely touched upon what the mixture of gainers is as far as the Nifty and the FNO space is concerned. As far as the broader markets are concerned, you do see some stocks like Hindustan Motors rallying in trade. You have, apart from this, automotive stampings that's up in trade. Then you also have Infobeans Technologies. These are the kind of stocks that are moving. So some auto ancillary flavor that I can pick out as far as the broadest index is concerned. But time to welcome our guest on the show now. Vaishali Parikh joins in. She is the Vice President Technical Research Analysis at Prabhudas Leeladhar. Vaishali, great to have you with us on Business Today. Tell us, what do you foresee in the markets? Nifty Bank clearly under pressure today. Where do they go from here?
Yes, hello. So sure, market, Nifty has after a long time decisively broken the previous low. 22,350 was the support which was held on for quite a while. And today we saw a decisive break of that. And even in Bank Nifty, 48,500 was the support. That too has been broken. So bias has got a bit corrective. I think now we are looking for a downward trajectory towards 22,000 to start with. And Bank Nifty also can do 47,500 for now. So yes, bias is corrective. Only if we move past 22,550 and sustain about that, that could be the change in the view. But for now, it looks quite corrective.
Good afternoon, Vaishali. Very warm welcome on Market Today. We've asked your view on what the market is looking, but tell us, what are you looking at? Anything that catches your fancy?
Very good afternoon to you, and thanks for having me. Yes, so I think as a safe bet and a defensive counter now, last week we were talking about FMCG counter, which has given a bounce back. But now I'm looking at IT sector because a good corrective move has already taken place, and this could be the savior if Nifty has to hold on again. So I'm looking at the IT sector to start with TCS, Tech Mahindra. These are the stocks which I think comparatively look good in a market like this.
Okay. And anything apart from Hindustan Unilever or Marico that you can put a finger on in the FMCG space?
So yes, I would now look at even Dabur. I think we spoke about it last time. So Dabur is looking quite good even now. Along with that, now I would look at Nestle because Nestle has not participated, and I think it's a good time to start accumulating this stock. So I guess once it's done with its queries and all the problems that it has been facing, technically very well placed, 2400 as support. And I think it's a matter of time. This can go towards 2650 to start with. So that is one stock, and then why not Tata Consumer as well?
Well, so you are punting on chocolate and of course coffee.
Oh, yes. And Maggie.
Okay, that's a great combination. So, and Kit Kat from Nestle, as also Starbucks coffee from Tata Consumer. I'm sure Sakshi likes both of them. She likes coffee, but she doesn't have chocolate. She likes chocolate too, but she doesn't eat it. I do both.
That's true. But how about some Ashirwad Atta and anything on that front, Vaishali? How about
So,
ITC?
yeah, so that was always the front runner, right?
No
And
carbs.
today- Sorry?
No carbs. Shell
No
is saying no
carbs.
carbs.
Yes, yes, but that has been the front runner, and today it did give a spike of giving a breakout, and but now again it's quite subdued. But I think it's a very gradual stock, so yes, it's a no-brainer. We have been talking about this right from 400 levels, so yes, it's getting better, and we would look at a 480, 490 target from here on.
Okay. Well, what about the comeback in the IT space that we are seeing from last 2 days, Vaishali? How are you looking at assessing this move, and where would you keep your focus in this bounce?
So see, actually, IT sector on the whole has corrected quite a bit, and technically it is at a support just below, a little bit below 200-day moving average for now. So I'm not a bit too sure, but even if market has to correct further on, and if IT doesn't support now, I think still maximum 1,000 to 1,500 points of downside can be seen in IT sector if we see the worst right now in this sector. But I think have a look at Infosys, TCS, Tech Mahindra, Coforge, all have corrected substantially, persistent, and I think it's a matter of time. One should not neglect this sector because for quite a while this has been rather not performing. So I think it's about time.
It's about time as far as the IT space is concerned. Of course, these are the only pockets that are actually buzzing. It's FMCG and it's IT, and just about like a few movers as far as the banking names are concerned, because the Nifty Bank is down, but it's Kotak Mahindra Bank that continues to be outperforming a percent higher now. Vaishali, we've seen a strong move in this counter over the last few days. Do you see this move extending?
So it needs to close above 1450. I'll just have a look properly one sec. Sorry, we are at 1640.
1639. Yeah.
So 1650, 1655, that's the level that I would look at. Once it closes above that, that means it's ready for a reversal, and then we can expect this stock to go towards 1700 plus. So yes, for now it looks quite good as a
Let's, Sakshi, I think. Okay, I think not many people remember Jyoti Labs. These stocks are coming back maybe after 10 years. Let me just see the price. 470, no, 453. Wow. Vaishali, you are going to love this chart. It's a beautiful swing trade in the making, and the stocks bounced from 200-day moving average. Earnings are there in a week or so, and the entire sector is abuzz. So why don't you lead us on to Jyoti Labs, and I'll tell you something interesting after your tech view is over.
I think you've really brought a very good stock to our notice right now. Technically, it looks very, very appealing. 400 acts as a good support. Today, we are seeing a strong bullish candle. So we need to see a follow-on buying above 465. This stock is out of the woods, out of the consolidation, and it should go towards 480 to 500 levels. So it's quite an attractive stock right now.
Fair point. So the maker of Ujala, Henko, Margo soap, Prill washing utensils, and of course, I think this is fabric care, fabric whitener, Ujala. So that's what Jyoti Labs makes, and that's how the price is moving also. Can't remember seeing so much volumes on Jyoti Labs after such a long time. Let me just try and find out what the all-time high on Jyoti Labs is. 1 second. Okay, that's fairly recent. 551, and now we are at 452. So not bad at all. And somewhere like how many? 2,93,000 shares have been traded, which are the highest since February of 15th. Maybe that was also the earnings day of this particular counter. Good going. You should have these days where old favorites, old brands come back in action. Ujala, I remember the ad at one point of time that used to come on Doordarshan TV, but suddenly everything slipped out. You're saying something, Sakshi?
Char boondon wala ujala, right? That's the ad.
कहाँ से कहाँ बात आ गई, 4 बूंदों वाला उजाला. Jyoti Labs doing very well. Percent change is 10.66, and 322 crore rupees worth of transaction has happened, which is multiple times the 5-day average. It's hard to find a stock which is in the green, and there's so much of red that it's just bothering my eyes. IndusInd Bank 3% lower, 1451. HDFC Bank about 1% lower, 1520. A sea of red. How many stocks are in the red? 1 second. 1754 stocks are in the red. Advances are now sort of rising a bit, 500 or so. लेकिन जो हमारे काम के स्टॉक हैं उनमें से कोई भी ऐसा नहीं है जो हरे निशान में दौड़ रहा हो. मे बी ONGC नो डाउन 3%, 274. आज तो बस लीवर का ही दिन है, साक्षी.
Absolutely. And why not we invest in some pizzas also, then Jubilant Foodworks? How would you really look at that one, Vaishali, after a long haul move coming in on Jubilant, and would you look at it favorably?
Definitely. Actually, this is not the stock to my liking because it has always disappointed us. But yes, right now, just a little bit of trading that one can see. Look at 510, 520 at the most. If we sustain about that, then it has some meaning.
Okay, got that. I think there's some news coming in from DLF, and of course the real estate sector is in deep pain today. But DLF news coming in from reports suggest that some houses they have sold, as far as 800 houses have been sold in Privana West, and this is worth about 5,300 crore rupees worth of sales has happened. A very strong kind of information coming in on DLF, and of course we've been seeing the real estate space talking about such big headlines, selling off such premium properties, and in a day, in a week, that kind of a demand coming in for such properties. Is real estate space giving you that buy on dip signal with this kind of weakness today, Vaishali, and where, if at all?
I would definitely agree, because if you see the long-term chart, the realty sector has got still a lot of upside potential. If you see the monthly chart and all, there is still a lot of scope. So having said that, I would of course focus more on overall realty, DLF and Godrej Properties. We saw, in spite of all the choppiness in these last few days that we've been seeing, Godrej Properties was making new highs. DLF, little bit correct has happened, but 830 is the level to watch for. If these levels break, then there is a change of thought. But till then, I think one should look for buying opportunities.
Okay, we are now just 19 minutes away from what has been a terrible day as far as the main indices are concerned. The Nifty is still down 139 points, about 0.5% lower. Now, let me give you some positives. Since morning, we've been discussing this negativity except for IT and FMCG. Let me just do some calisthenics for you. Okay, the low for the Nifty today was 22,238. We are at 22,300. So that's a bounce of about 70 points from 60 points definitely from the day's low. And I also wanted to highlight one particular thing. Yes, remember, Vaishali, when you were coming in the late part of last year, you had picked up Tata Elxsi as one of your picks. I think it's time to revisit that. It's 1% higher, and one of the highest beta counters that I have ever known. My God, this has been a drastic fall. 71.51. The chart, well, nothing much to say here, but these are fairly okayish prices. What would you say, Vaishali?
I would say
Tata
actually,
Elxsi.
yes. So for the daily chart, for near-term perspective, it was a bit of a consolidation. Stock is trying to bounce from the oversold. So I would say yes. Once the stock moves above 7,200 levels, I think we can see a reversal coming up to at least 7,800 for now.
Okay, and because Kotak is now at its day's high, I'll also look at the 1620 call that we were tracking. Now that call is somewhere like, let me just refresh it. I'm sure the price is much higher. Okay, it's 49.30, 49.20. We'll see if some more action develops from this one, but the last 15 minutes are going to be really good. See, it's 51.5. That's what I was saying, my prices were not updating. So this is something to look at. Let's see how things move. Remember, we are just on the 7th of March. Almost all that negativity that could come on Kotak, the joint managing director leaving the C-suite for probably greener pastures. Very strict RBI action coming on two of Kotak's main products, as also debarring the bank from digitally adding customers. That's also out. It's a 4-year low, 3.5-year low on the counter. Valuations have halved, and the swing towards private sector banks has come in because of very, very good numbers coming in. So still there is value to be had in Kotak, and today when the entire market is in pain, it's Kotak from the private banking space that is holding its head high. Sakshi.
It's on the metals pack. How would you really look at the space? Of course, today there is some pain, but how are you looking at some of the big movers of the recent 1 week, 10 days?
You asked me about the metal pack?
Metals pack, yes. The
Yes,
likes
so-
of Hindalco, NMDC, these have been like, star performers of the last 1 week, 10 days odd.
Right, so we had seen it was a very, very steep rise actually, if you go to see in the metal sector. It's taken a support of a small term moving average right now. So I would say still there is nothing really bad happening. RSI also is at 55-60 levels. So I think if metal sector has to bounce back, this is the right time to start picking the stocks. And if you were to look at JSW Steel or Jindal Steel and Power, I don't think it has gone through so much of a correction. Yes, Hindalco, Nalco, SAIL, they are showing a little bit of a weakness, but I don't see a damage to the trend. And let's wait and watch, because I'm looking at these two stocks right now, that is JSW Steel, Jindal Steel and Power. I think they should start moving from here on.
Okay, got that. One stock which got my attention is from the oil and gas exploration space, and that's Ceylon Exploration. A very sharp move in trade today. I think it's up about 14 odd percent, even though the index is down by about 2 odd percent, and be it upstream, downstream, most of the companies are actually trading lower, barring just some gains which are being seen on IOC, on Oil India and on HPCL. But this one is like up 15%. How are you looking at the charts of this one, Vaishali?
So yes, the chart, I mean, of all time periodicity, it's showing a lot of strength. I think, of course, no, I would not recommend buy right now, but to those who are holding, should continue with the trailing stop loss. There is still a lot of steam left.
I think apart from this, I think the earnings are coming in. SRF is just reporting its numbers. I have the first flash, which is 422 crore rupees of a PAT, slightly below the street estimates on this one. The consolidated revenues are coming in at 3,778 from 3,778 crores, it's now down to 3,570 odd crores. So the revenues have dipped for SRF. There's a sharp 6% downtick on the stock, remember. And on the profitability figure as well, from 562 odd crore rupees, it's dipped to 422 crore rupees. On both the front, there is a decline on a year-on-year basis. How would you look at SRF, Vaishali?
So it was doing very well till a couple of days back, but now since last 3 days, we are seeing a good dip. It's close to its moving average, 200-day moving average support of 2380. So that should act as a good support, and one can take a risk to buy because risk-reward ratio also turns out to be quite favorable. And if we see the weekly chart and all, I think even there we are seeing a good support at 2380 levels. I think one should take a chance to buy these levels.
Absolutely strong punishment being dealt by the market as far as SRF is concerned, and all hopes of incipient turnaround in prices for chemical stocks seem to have been dashed by this performance. SRF is the top loser in the F&O space, and this 6% cut, which is now getting deeper, is accompanied by a 16% rise in open interest. So this is not looking good. Let's look at the positioning of the chart as far as SRF is concerned, and that will give you an idea as to what moving average is the stock at. Okay, very sharp decline today, and this brings it back to below 200-day moving average, which is not good at all. And all the gains that were made from say 14th of March onwards have now been surrendered. Obviously the volume is pretty high, so this is a pain point that is coming into the market. 3:18, ladies and gentlemen, 12 minutes left. I wish I could point out anything that's happening for the better apart from Kotak, as also Hindustan Unilever and Marico. Dull days here as far as prices are concerned. Let me at least make a genuine effort to give some very high-end patterns for you on the green side. Let me just see what can I offer you. Okay, we've discussed all these stocks, nothing much to add. Okay, let's look at some other trends that are coming in the market. Okay, Sakshi and Vaishali have pointed to Tata Consumer. This is up 4 rupees today, but let me add just my one bit. This is the third day of gains as far as Tata Consumer is concerned, and ditto on Jubilant Foods. So FMCG in many ways, whether it's pizza, whether it's chocolate, whether it's Ashirwad Atta, all of them are winning newer and better customers on the markets as well. Anything, Vaishali, that we've missed that you've caught on technical and derivatives charts?
So you're talking to me about the FMCG counter on the whole, or just otherwise? Yes, so
Sakshi, your turn now. Both of us have yeah, please continue, Vaishali.
Yes, so I totally agree with you for FMCG counter, I mean, as we discussed. But besides that, do have a look at Wipro now, because we were also talking about the IT sector. Wipro looks quite fine. I mean, after a good corrective move, taken support of 200-day moving average, attempting to make higher bottom. Well, this could be a good stock right now with 450 as a stop loss, and this can be taken as a trade for 500 target.
Okay, but we have to give you, the difficult part today, Vaishali, of picking out any BTST, STBT trades. What would you pick? It's 320.
I think sometimes it's good to not trade, right? Because we don't know what tomorrow has in store for us. Because I think the way Nifty is closing, it could be a weak day. But yes, I have given a sell call on IOC. Let me see, have I met with my target? It was IOC and IndusInd Bank. Those were the two sell calls today. So yes, IOC pretty much 157. So it could be a good STBT because 157 is what I'm looking at. Today's low is 159.50. And the other one, what I mentioned was IndusInd Bank. That is what I was looking at for a target of 1430.
Okay, got that. So
Okay.
there you have it.
Vaishali, we'll ask you a difficult question.
Yes, please.
We'll ask you a difficult question today. This is on India VIX. Sakshi, let me just give you a data which will not gladden your heart at all. The India VIX has climbed above its 200 week moving average. So that's a very dangerous thing to happen around a time when national elections are being held and option spikes are being observed. Very high volatility coming in, and it's killing traders left, right, and center. Vaishali, your view on India VIX?
So yes, totally. As per the daily chart, it has given a breakout, if I were to say that, above 16.7, and right now it's 1690. And now that I'm seeing the weekly chart, I think it's ready for surging high. It could probably go towards 20 also. So 2022. So that's not a thing that one would appreciate. But yes, and to support my view, I was just looking at some of the charts in
Yes.
the morning. The auto sector, that was also at a make or break. And today I'm seeing that there is good correction coming in auto stocks also. Energy index, ONGC, Reliance, they've all started showing a corrective move. So, well, it is a dicey situation, but quite likely that India VIX can go to 2022.
Okay. 2022 India VIX can go to, so this we could be headed for higher volatility even going forward from here on as well. But just about 7 minutes remaining. Vaishali, for tomorrow, what would the strategy be? How would you recommend viewers on Nifty Bank clearly?
So, well, the signal is a sell. So, to those who are have taken short sell on Nifty and Bank Nifty should continue to do so. So, tomorrow, of course, we also have the Bank Nifty expiry. So, 48 is acting as a support. It's going to be choppy. So, I think rather just, take an intraday trading, that would be a better strategy.
Okay, got that. All right, viewers, we will just start, winding up and looking at trades in the weaker side, of course, as far as the Nifty is concerned. You saw pressure build up on most of the Nifty stocks today. Bajaj Auto is the one that is the weakest link on the Nifty, 4% lower in trade. You have Power Grid, IndusInd Bank, as pointed out by Vaishali, that's also ending lower, almost to the tune of 3%. You have ONGC, Tata Motors, JSW Steel, Hindalco. So the metal pack clearly under pressure in trade today. You have Apollo Hospitals, Shriram Finance, Cipla. So some pharma names also dragging in trade. These are the heavyweight counters from the Nifty that was seen dragging in trade. And the FNO space, SRF we've discussed, and it continues to trade even weaker post the earnings. Margins have also dipped for this one. I've got another figure, 19% down from about 25% earlier. So sharp decline in the earnings, and that's creating some pressure on this. You have the gas counters also declining. So Mahanagar Gas is down by over 5.5%. GMR Airports Infra, Lupin, Aarti Industries, India Cements. These are the big movers on the downside as far as the FNO movers are concerned. Amid the, again, when we talk about some of the broader market movers on the positive side, you have Arvind Limited. That's again gaining strength in trade today, about 9.6% higher. Navneet Education, that's up 8%. You have Kokuyu Camelin, so again those stationary names that are coming up. And apart from that, you also have some other names like Godrej Consumer, we've discussed already, the pharma, the FMCG space, Titagarh Rail Systems, that's another one after the earnings. Titagarh Rail, Vaishali, let me ask you on this one after the earnings. How are you looking at the charts of this? 5.5% higher. Would you look at buying this one?
I would think so, because 1,000 is the support, and we are seeing a good candle, above that. So I think with 1,000 as stop loss, one can look at this stock for a target of 1,200.
Okay. And anything else in the railway space that looks positive to you? I remember the last time when we were talking about the railway buzz, it was IRCTC that you kept in your radar. What next, and on IRCTC, and how are you looking at the entire flavor build-up?
So IRCTC, we pretty much did with the target. I was expecting 1,100, but I think we did 1,075 or so. So yes, we saw a surge, but I would avoid IRCTC. But I think one can consider Texmaco Rail also, but not for now. One can accumulate, because if we see the mid-cap index also, we are seeing, I'll talk about mid-cap 100. We are seeing strong resistance at 51,300, and from there we are seeing a fall coming in. So not in a hurry, but yes, 150 acts as a good support. One can start accumulating at lower levels.
Right. Now, just thankfully 3 minutes are left to what has been a very, very tiring day. as also tiring 2 weeks. So on both days, Monday and Tuesday, Nifty bulls have been on the back foot. The 21 EMA is now captured by the bears. It essentially means that what was a buy on dip market earlier has now turned into a sell on rise kind of a market. We've shed 135 points today, 22,300 for you. The battle for supremacy will begin at this level from tomorrow. Remember, it's going to be a very heavy earnings day. You have State Bank of India and Tata Motors reporting tomorrow. Tata Motors has already slipped a bit sharply ahead of its earnings, and nothing much we can make out in today's trade except for the sterling performance from the FMCG and the IT sectors. Apart from that, while the Nifty may have slipped dramatically, about 130 points lower, but volumes and price are not accompanying this fall. If you look at volumes within NSE 50, which is the index Nifty, 2100 crores worth of shares were traded with HDFC Bank. This is the highest traded counter, 1.2% lower. Reliance is down 1%. 2014 crores worth of shares have been traded. ICICI Bank in the red by the extent of 1.3%. About 1700 crores worth of transactions. All these averages are below the daily kind of churn that happens. So one needn't worry about how prices have been moving, but nevertheless the pain is right there in front of you. All-time highs today as far as in the Nifty were none, but in the NSE 500 you have Godrej Consumer Products 5% higher, 1390, CG Power 4.5% higher, 571, Colgate, Siemens up smartly in early trade, giving back some of their gains. ABB, Polycab, CDSL, and Zydus Life. These were some of the stocks that gathered attention from the bulls side. And apart from that, amongst the volume buzzers, let me just try to do something really stupid. Look at upper circuits, if any. Names, if I can share. Oh wow, KPI Green, 2061, 5% higher. This is the only name that I can take in public in the first 20 that are there in front of me, but nothing of consequence for the bulls today, unless you've traded in Hindustan Unilever, Marico, Dabur, and to some extent Kotak Mahindra Bank. Sakshi, that's all from my side.
All right. Then Vishali, thank you so much for being with us on this show and helping us navigate through this very difficult hour. Very, very volatile and very few names to be discussed. But nevertheless, it's passed by and we have 22,301 as the closing level on the Nifty right now, 141 points lower in trade, the third day in a row when the markets have slipped. The Nifty Bank 625 points lower in trade, 1.2% lower. And when we talk about the other sectoral indices, barring the FMCG and the IT index, rest of the markets were actually lower in trade, and especially dragged by the metals pack that was down 2.3%, the healthcare index that was down 2.1%. We also had a sharp fall being seen on auto space, about 1.9% lower in trade, 1.5% lower for the media space, and of course the worst one was the Nifty Realty that ended lower by 3.5% in trade today. Private banks, PSU banks, financial services all down, and therefore they created pressure on the Nifty Bank as well. Broader markets, of course, the mid and the small cap 100 indices also lower by nearly 2% so weakness persisted across the board and a broad-based sell-off happened on the D Street, barring the FMCG and the IT space that shined through. Of course, HUL after a long haul of 5.5% move as the top mover in trade today, followed by Tech Mahindra, Nestle, Britannia and Tata Consultancy Services. With that, viewers, we will wrap it up at that, but do stay tuned on to Business Today as we will continue to get you all the action beyond the world of stock markets too.
Hello and welcome to Business Today Television. I'm Siddharth Zarabi and you're watching Market Today. Joining us now is Shanti Lal Jain, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Indian Bank. Welcome, Mr. Jain, to the show. Take us through the key operating highlights of your financial performance. Your net profits are up and the bank is on the path of profitability,